Hey guys, welcome back. DeFi, degens, drip, and farm for poverty. I'm your host, Drip Coach, dropping knowledge bombs on all Forex Shark related projects. And in today's video, we are revisiting the governance protocol and going to listen to the information that Forex said on how this is decentralized, and going to help break that down on how this will be governed by the actual users. And every single user actually has the opportunity to call this function the way that this is set up. And I want to help you guys understand how that works and why, again, the animal farm is going to be the pinnacle of yield farming in the DeFi space because of these decentralized mechanics that Forex is implementing. But before we jump into that, we got to kind of go over a little bit about how the blocks are mined, the type of network that Binance is, and then revisiting the number of blocks that are created so that we can see when this will get called. So if you're not familiar, Binance is a proof of stake network. And a lot of networks are moving towards that because it's quote unquote more environmentally friendly. Bitcoin is one of the few still operating on the proof of work, which is, in my opinion, the best one for decentralization. Proof of stake starts to create more centralization, and that's the biggest red flag that people always scream about regarding Binance, because Binance has 21 active validators who operate the proof of stake consensus. So essentially, it is extremely centralized, and that means that they control the network to some degree, but it's been operating just fine. And even when they've had hacks and exploits, because there's a small group of validators, they can quickly shut those things down. Remember, there was like 500,000 BNB that was made out of thin air on one of the bridges a little over a month ago, and they were able to quickly react and get that blocked so it didn't crash the network. So in some ways it's a good thing to have it, and in some ways you could say, yeah, it's not decentralized enough, but hey, I'm on board. So anyway, proof of stake, and then the way that the validators work, they basically together create all of the calculations and securing of the network, so that a block is mined every 3 seconds. So whenever you come over to Binance, you'll find the actual validator who is responsible for mining that block. And when they do that, they are the ones that receive the transaction fees and also a portion of BNB for being the validator to support that kind of network. So you can think of validators as miners, but they're not really mining. They're just putting up their BNB as stake or collateral, and then that gives them the ability to validate these blocks or validate the network and the transactions. So with that in mind, we need to now move over to the animal farm and look at when this block was created, or the snapshot. So remember, this is the snapshot, and this particular link takes us out to that particular block and when it was mined, and that is a snapshot of the block at that time. It tells us what reward was paid out, the difficulty of it, and all this other stuff. So this allows us to kind of go back in time to see when this block was actually captured. Now, this is important because, remember, we need to understand how this is utilized in regards to calling this decentralized function for the actual Pigpen injection. So that's why we're going to move over here to what Forex is going to explain on how he's using the blocks and using a function in the contract so that the user actually calls that function. So it's not him, it will actually be deployed to the contract, and each user will have that opportunity to do so. So let's take a listen. Just a quick message, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss another video. This helps bring brand awareness to the channel, as well as all Forex Shark related projects. Thank you.
Strong proposals by the time they get there, which is important because decentralization doesn't mean crowd rule, right? Decentralization, I think, in its peak form, means the people who are most affected by a process have the most say in that process, and anybody can get involved, and everybody has an opportunity to participate if they choose to participate, and people have the right to sit out and not participate. And there's never one actor who is just running roughshod over the protocol. And that's what I think decentralization looks like from a community perspective. And from a technical perspective, what decentralization looks like to me is users of the protocol calling the functions themselves, which result in whatever process is taking place on a network. So this is why it's important to me that after the voting process, we automate the function calls based on participants in the Pigpen calling functions like deposits and withdrawals and these kinds of things. And effectively, we'll have it so there's a cooldown on the injection function where if it's a week, if it's a month, if it's a quarter, that many blocks need to pass by. But every time anybody's doing a deposit in the Pigpen, a withdrawal in the Pigpen, a claim in the Pigpen, a compound in the Pigpen, it's always trying to call this function to do the Pigpen injection. And then once a certain amount of blocks have gone past, it will that function will actually get called when it tries to call it. And this way, you never know who's going to call the function, and it's not any individual that is managing it. So this is true decentralization, and that's what we're striving for always.
Hopefully this will make more sense the way he explained it, but it's kind of simple if you think about it. So what he's saying is that once this is deployed, so we still have a couple days left for this, but once it's deployed, it basically is running and it cannot be taken down. So again, that's the beauty of what he's creating. As long as Binance is up and operating, then this yield farm will continue to provide utility. And remember, it's tied to PancakeSwap, which again, the only black swan event is Binance operating. So this means that there will always be yield and dividends being paid out to the Pigpen. So this is your ownership that will go on in perpetuity as long as the internet is up and running and Binance is churning out blocks, and the cake will get sold automatically. Now, what he said is literally every single time a function happens on the Pigpen, it's going to try to sell the cake in the contract. That's the way he's writing this script. So every time you come in and deposit, or you come in and claim and compound, or you withdraw, or you claim your rewards, whatever. Anytime some kind of action takes place on the Pigpen, it's going to try to sell all of the cake that has been accumulated up to that point. So every single one of the Pigpen holders or people in the Pigpen, whatever you want to call them, they will be the ones calling this function. Now, the way it ensures that it's not called prematurely is based on the vote that we're giving. So right now, remember, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. And then he said that it's going to use a cooldown, meaning it's going to look for a certain number of blocks that have been created since the function was last called, and then it will wait until that happens again. So that's why it's important to understand how the validation works and how many blocks are created. So I've showed you guys this on my channel a couple times now, but basically Binance creates about 28,300 blocks per day, which comes out to about a block every 3 seconds. It changes a little bit here and there, but that's what makes this kind of cool, because it'll never be timed like to the second that anybody would be able to actually figure out when this is going to take place, because there's enough difference between each day. So there's no way to game the system and find out when the injections are and get your pigs in. Like, there's so many fail safes built in, the 50-day vesting, this kind of thing. So this is, again, really, really smart and intricate in the way that Forex built this. So there's 28,300 blocks every day on average. And then he said that we're going to look at weekly, monthly, and quarterly. So our handy dandy spreadsheet shows us that in order for the function to be called, it's going to be looking for roughly 198,100 blocks that have been created since the last time the function was called, or 849,000 per month, or 2.5 million for a quarter. And if you look here at the Binance chain, you can see all the blocks getting added in sequence, each block every 3 seconds, 16 seconds, 13 seconds, 10 seconds, right? And then we can also validate that this is indeed accurate with these numbers, because we can come over here, we can take this, remember this is a snapshot of the blocks, 23,932,640. That's what I put in the spreadsheet here. That was a proposal block. And then it's, from this video, it's changed a little bit, but the current block, 24 million, sorry. Let's get the actual current just so I can show you guys. It won't be current because it's constantly changing, right? So 24,002,906. So we just changed this. Oh, it's still right. Okay, so I haven't updated it. So we look at that. And then we can subtract the difference. That's these two. That's what this number is. And then if we divide this number by the number of blocks per day, we get 2.48. So 2.5 days have passed. And lo and behold, when we come over to the governance, we see, it's not that one. It's, where is the block? This one. This is our proposal block 2.5 days ago, right? So that does line up. It does work out perfectly. So again, what he's doing is extremely innovative, in my opinion, in space and the way this works for decentralization, so that this cannot be taken down, because no matter what, there's always going to be someone in there making transactions, doing stuff in the pig pen. And as long as Binance is running, there is always going to be blocks. So the failsafe is just going to wait for this cooldown period, whatever happens to be the vote that we win. And these are rough numbers, but it will be basically looking for this value. And it'll say, has 849,000 blocks passed since the last time I sold cake? If no, then continue until 849,000. If yes, sell cake. And then it'll just look for this number again. And that means it's just set there in stone forever and ever. Amen. We're done. So again, I think that's pretty neat, pretty innovative. So right now we're looking at weekly. So we're gonna be looking at basically 198,000 blocks, but we're still waiting on quite a few people to vote on this. There's still about 300,000 or so, 200,000 people that haven't voted yet. Yeah, 332. And that's also the cool thing about this governance as well. That's another kind of failsafe. Not everyone's going to participate and be following all the updates. A lot of people get into crypto and DeFi projects and kind of hope it's a set it and forget it kind of thing, meaning you don't have to check back in on it. So they have their pigs and all that, and they're sitting in there, and maybe they're collecting their BSD dividends, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're just literally sitting them there and check back in quarterly or yearly or monthly or whatever. I don't know. But either way, your vote, the people that are following, will have the bigger impact, because it looks like not everybody's going to have voted by this time. So this will be very interesting to see, especially as proposal comes up. That means you will have a bigger say-so in how this gets affected. And that, again, is what Forex mentioned about how he envisions decentralization. So yeah, hope that provided some value. If it did, you guys know the drill. Smash that HBO special, help brother out with the like, comment, subscribe, comment down below, all that good stuff. And until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya. Real quick, one other thing, if you're still watching, great, good for you. Forgot to interject the scavenger hunt word for today. So for those of you that are following along, this will be word number 2 in the series for the end of the year. And that word is going to be snapshot. So number 2, snapshot, scavenger hunt. All right, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.